Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Welcome, guys. It's been a long time. I've been away for like months now, or maybe it's not too long, but I've been away for some time now. So, guys, I'm going to be making my videos once more, but today we're going to talk about a very important topic. This topic has really shaken me. Like, when I started thinking about this, I needed to take a position. Like, what is my position on this issue? Am I just going to follow, or I'm going to think about it? Okay? I think that point has to be, you will reach that point. The reason why I'm putting this on this Dawa channel is that I feel like the people maybe in the future that are going to benefit from some of my videos, they might encounter this, or people even right now in the Dawa that ask this question. How do you approach this question? Okay? So, the topic is like Hudud punishment, especially the apostasy law and the blasphemy law. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me just give you some background check on what happened. So in Nigeria, there was a student that was killed, a female student, I think Deborah Samuel or something. She was killed. Why? Why was she killed? Because in the group or something, she insulted the prophet. Okay. Or they were using the group to, like maybe like a class group, you're not supposed to post like religious stuff because there are other people from different religions. So I think someone posted something and then she replied and she insulted the prophet. Yeah, let's say she insulted the prophet. Yeah, no problem. What ended up happening is that a group of students, male of course, they came and then they ganged up on the lady and they killed her. Okay, and she was burned. They killed her and then they set her on fire. Anyway, that's the whole point. So what happened after was a series of clarifications from scholars in Nigeria. Okay, so some scholars are like, you know what, this is wrong. You can never do this. Some scholars started justifying it based on tradition. Yeah, some scholars are saying no, we cannot do this no matter what. Now, so that started me, and I started thinking about it. Like, I need to take a position on this. What is my position on this? Because, see, it's not just I cannot enact any law. I cannot I'm not the judge, of course. But what do I think about this issue? That's what the important part of this is. So, my epistemology, how I started thinking about it is like, wait, Islamic laws, they are models for humanity. That's the first thing I thought about. Our laws are laws that are universal because they are from God, okay? And these laws, they can be applied by anybody, whether they're Muslim or not, and it will benefit them. So I said, wait, we have a model for humanity here, which is Islam, and our justice system, okay? Such that if a non-Muslim wrong a Muslim, we will not take the side of the Muslim. We will take the side of justice. And many of our laws, I feel like they are benefit for the society anyway. Like you can like the alcoholics, no alcohol, all these things are benefits to the society. That's my belief. Now, so these two laws, I have a problem with them. The apostasy law. We start from the apostasy law and the blasphemy law. The thing is, I saw different spectrum of scholars. Some scholars are hardcore on this and said, you know what, no matter what, we are not going to allow this. Some scholars, on the other hand, are like, nah, we need to reinterpret this. There's something going on here. So I want to go into it and show you how I arrived at my position right now. Okay. So let's start from the apostasy law. So what is the apostasy law? The apostasy law basically is that once someone becomes a Muslim, they cannot leave. If anybody leave and he says, I'm not Muslim anymore, they have apostatized or something. If you leave Islam, you are not a Muslim anymore and you're sure about it, you are now an apostate. And therefore, you have to be killed. That is the law of the apostasy law. So let's examine that before we go to the other laws. So this law on the face level, what is it saying? What is the whole point? It's saying once you become a Muslim, you cannot leave. Or if you were already a Muslim from birth or something, you cannot say I'm not a Muslim anymore. Maybe you don't believe in Islam or something. You cannot say you are not Muslim anymore. Yeah. And if you say that and we catch you, you are going to be killed. That's the whole point. Now, when I see like, is this really the case? And you have verses in the Quran like verses about like Rafidin and all those things. So how do they interpret it? How do these scholars interpret, the scholars that take this position, how do they interpret verses like Rafidin and many other things? And by the way, you see this issue of this apostasy law and this I was dealing with, it took me down the path of trying to find what is this all about. How do we even interpret this text? Why are some scholars saying no and some scholars saying yes? In fact, they're saying you have to do it. So what I found is this. It depends on how you interpret the text of the Quran and the Hadith. How do you see them? So in the Quran, basically, there's nothing. There is no verse in the Quran that is saying someone needs to be killed if they don't believe or if they disbelieved. On the other hand, in the Quran, it's saying whoever وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. If you like, believe. If you like, don't believe. Because on the day of judgment, you're going to be punished anyway. Like, what's worse than being punished in Jahannam, right? So the point is, where is this law coming from? How do you interpret this text that's saying no compulsion in religion? Like Rafidin. So if someone decides he wants to leave Islam, that's his own cup of tea. He's going to face God on the day of judgment. So if there's no compulsion in religion, is this not compulsion? So let's say someone he doesn't believe in Islam anymore in his heart. Okay? And you ask him, are you still a Muslim? And he says, I'm still a Muslim. But he's lying. Should he say the truth? Like, I'm not actually a Muslim anymore. Or should he lie? Or something like this. So is that not compulsion? Anyway, now I'll get to so now. Remember what I told you about the model for humanity, that our laws are models for humanity. See, by the way, if you take any of the positions, I'm not going to force you to change your position. I'm just showing you how I changed my position on this issue. Okay? So now, if Islamic laws are laws that can be applied for everybody, whether they're Muslims or not, do you know our laws are actually supposed to benefit humanity? Any society that the Muslim goes to is supposed to benefit the humanity, the community. So if you apply our no alcohol, your society will become better. If you apply our law that no prostitution, your society will become better. No adultery, no all of that, your society will become better. Okay? But this one, can this be applied, especially for people that are doing dawah, especially for you? Can you apply this law? Really? I started thinking, what is the whole point of dawah? Imagine if you're doing dawah, calling people to Islam, right? What do you expect them to do? You want them to leave their own religion to become Muslim. That's the whole point. So if Islamic law is general, anyone can apply it. So imagine their own society, they now apply the same law and say, you know what, anybody that leaves us too, we're going to kill them. Do you see how problematic it is? And this will determine how you think about people anyway. If you think people are just stupid, they just follow falsehood. But if you take people seriously and you know that they believe something with conviction, for example, the Christians and the Jews and some other people, they really believe what they believe. It's not they are not joking. They believe that. If you really want them to change their position, it's supposed to be on a fair ground. If they convince you, you follow the truth wherever it leads, right? So if Islam is true and I convince you to join Islam, then you join it. Okay? I'm not going to force you to join it. Rather, am I going to force you to stay in it, right? So this is the whole point of dawah, right? So if they applied it, so that means all the people that are becoming Muslims, and by the way, you will see sympathy. I've seen this before. Some Christians, they become Muslim online and then they make their videos and say their family is sad and everything. Of course, their family will be sad. Do you want them to be happy? Imagine you leave your own religion. You left Islam. Would your parents be happy? Of course, they will not be happy. So I used to be they started persecuting. At least they didn't kill them, right? But you can be killed. By the way, if you don't know, if you follow this other interpretation, you can be killed by your own family. They can take you to the authority. I've literally talked to people and they're like, yeah, you can be killed. You have to report the guy. Somehow I can even snitch on you. Even you are my family, if you become kafir, somehow you feel some kind of guilt. This guy needs to be punished because that's the law. If the law is the law, is the law. You cannot hide someone that has become an apostate if you are taking that interpretation. So those people taking this hardcore interpretation, this other interpretation, let me not even call it hardcore because I can see the way they are thinking. Okay? Because now, I already told you in the Quran, there's no clear verses about this. In fact, I don't see any verse. The opposite, that's what we see. However, there are some narration of the hadith that talks about that there are some clear ones that says, you know what, the only blood that you can kill, you list them, and one of them is anyone that leaves their religion. And many other hadiths that talk about people leaving their religion and getting killed. Clearly, there was even when we get to the blasphemy part, we'll even talk more. Anyway, there are hadiths like this, clear. So the point is, look at the Quran. What does the Quran say? The Quran says, no compulsion in religion. I don't know anything more clear than and there's another verse in Surah Al-Kahf that actually talks about anulizumukumuha or something like this. Anulizumukumuha. That am I going to force you to believe? That's actually what the verse means. Anulizumukumuha. So all this in the Quran just shows that it's free. You believe, you disbelieve, that's your own cup of tea. On your judgment, you face it. Now in the hadith, if you're not using a methodology, if your methodology is that, you see, if the Quran says something, the hadith explains it. That's where I think the other side they are coming from. If the Quran says something, the hadith explains it. So how do they reconcile the two? They will say, you see, la ikraha fi din, that's before you join it. Once you join it, there is no freedom of living. That's the whole point. Like, let's be clear, man. Like, I've seen people dance around the whole issue. Like, they're dancing around it, saying, you know what, they are not. I'll get to more deep details. I've really tried to understand this. So, some people will say, you know what, we don't force you. Yeah, like Rafi Din. That's before you join it. After you leave it, that verse does not apply anymore, because now we have hadith of someone that left and then they were killed because they apostatized. Now, that's one side of the story. Some scholars are not saying, you know what, no. These people that were killed, they started, now you have to interpret those hadiths. How do you understand the hadiths? Do we have to put them in context or not? Is this something that is supposed to be forever? No matter which generation, it has to be applied that way. Some scholars are thinking about it. Let's think about this clearly, guys. So they said, some people have said, you see, that was true. But that was because Islam was an identity and it was in the time of war. And if someone changes side in the time of war, that's like treason. So if someone commits treason, yeah, they can be killed. And nobody will argue with that. Even these so-called liberal West and this, if you in the time of war, if they catch you, maybe you are a spy or something like this, you'll be killed. Okay, so it's understandable if it's treason. I get that. Some other scholars are saying is, wait a moment, guys. There are some other people that clearly did acts of kufr, but they were not killed. They did acts of kufr. If anybody become because the whole point of apostasy is like you became kafir, then you have to be killed. Some people, they became kafir and they were not killed. Some people, they stayed kafir and they were not killed. So they said, see, if it's something that is supposed to be every time, then it would have been done every time. There's even one scenario where one Sahaba, someone became Muslim and then he left. So nothing was done to the person. So another Sahaba came and he said, why are you not punishing this guy or killing this guy? Something like this. And he was later killed. But the point was that the other Sahaba didn't think he should be killed. Because why didn't he do it? Didn't know the law. But he didn't kill him for some reason. The other Sahaba came, and so somehow there's a difference of opinion on what should be done. And some scholars are saying it's purely contextual. In the time that the Sahabas were living, it was serious issue and it's identity issue and everything. So now we cannot use that same way. So we have to understand it that way. And sometimes some people were excused, so they try to find a way around it. Some people just clearly went with the Quran and say, you know what, the Quran says, like Rafidin, anything else, we will not take it over those clear, unambiguous statements. They are so clear. And and all those ones. So they say we will not take it. Now, there are some absurd, like, when you argue logic, there's a reductio ad absurdum. You have some kind of absurd example you can give to make some things, to make you think about the issue. So someone was asked, if someone become a Muslim 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes, so I joined Islam now, and I left. After 5 minutes, I testify, I said the Shahada, After 5 minutes and I left, should I be killed? They asked someone this question on there. What is the answer to that? Let's say I converted one guy, he became Muslim today, and after some time he found some things about Islam and then said that I don't think I want to stay anymore. Should that guy be killed? Think about it. Your answer will determine how you are thinking about this issue. Okay, it's not just people that have been in Islam for long. There's no way where it says that. Okay, so you need to really take a position on this. Okay, and if you're someone doing dawah, have that at the back of your mind. When you're trying to convert people, and if you convert them and they don't really understand what they've taken, and they cannot leave, if you tell them that it's open, see, you can believe if you want, that's how you come. And I think this is how some people think like the Muslims are lying to them or something like this. But that's not the point. The point is that there are some scholars that have taken the other view. By the way, this is where I'm going to. It's not like, am I a scholar? Of course not. I want to show you there are scholars that are saying, no, we will not apply this law in this way because of clear verses in the Quran that are unambiguous. Some other scholars are saying the hadith, we use those hadiths and then we apply it. So I take the other position where you don't have to apply it. Maybe if it's treasonable offense, okay, treason, we understand. But if it's not treason, someone just left Islam or something and you have to kill him, I don't take that position anymore. Okay, now, so yeah, and by the way, now let's talk. What can you do? Let's say they catch you. This is another argument some people have made. They catch you and they said, you are an apostate. And the arguments that the other guys will say like, no, you're not so, like what they did to the lady, they will say it's wrong. You cannot kill somebody like that. You have to get a court system and then they have to ask them questions and everything like that. I argue, yeah, that's true. But the point is, when we get to the blasphemy law, you will see where we are going with this. Anyway, so if they catch you now, let's say you are not Muslim anymore and they catch you, what can you do? You can just say, you know what, I believe. If you say that, they will not kill you. If you change your mind and say, you know what, I changed my mind, I believe now, they will leave you alone. That's the whole point. Like they said I think 3 days or something, they will keep asking you this question. You can just say, I believe, and then you'll be taken back. So there's a way out for you. You can just lie and just get out of it. You can lie. And some people have made the argument that if someone can lie to be Muslim, and you're forcing him. Because now he doesn't want to die. And in Islam, if you don't want to die, you can actually lie to not die. So this guy sees like, hey, they're going to kill me, I don't want to die. So he will lie. And then they will take, yeah, you said it. See how this law is problematic when you start thinking about it, you see? So that's the first one. And you see my position on that one is that I take the other position that religion is free unless it's like in the time of treason. That's the only way it can make sense to me. That you can say, if with those unambiguous statements in the Quran, if the only time I can allow this that I can understand is in the time of war or the time of treason. That's only if it's a treasonable offense. Yeah. Now let's go to the next law, blasphemy law. Wait, let me check the time. Is it still recording? Okay, fine. Still recording. Okay. So the second law is the blasphemy law. So this law, what does it say? Whoever insults the honor of the prophet, they will be killed. Wait, what was I saying even? Oh God. You see, the one I've been telling you is actually about blasphemy. But you get the point. Apostasy is someone that leaves Islam, okay? But the one I was telling you about, the one of the lady, that one is actually blasphemy. Apostasy is you leave Islam, okay? Blasphemy, on the other hand, is you insult the honor of the prophet. Maybe you insult the prophet or something like this. Whoever you are, whether you're Muslim or Kafir, if you insult the prophet, you're going to be killed. That's the blasphemy law. No one can insult the prophet. And now, the same thing again. I asked myself that question. What is an insult? And by the way, you might think, see, this is for, what's it called? If someone like, let's say someone like the one we talked about, apostasy law. Let's say someone became an apostate. And then he started disrupting the community, started attacking other people or something like this. I can get it, like you can arrest him or something like this. If someone is doing that. But to kill him, I disagree with that. Now, on the other hand, the blasphemy law also. If someone is just violent, just insulting the prophet, some people are really crazy like that. Absolutely disgusting people. And they are doing that kind of act. You can punish them, Okay, you can punish this person, punish the guy. I don't care who he is, punish him. Okay, but to now say anybody that insult the prophet has to be killed. You see, now you have made it a law that no matter what happens, if you catch somebody insulting the prophet, they must be killed. Now, the question is, what is an insult? This is why this blasphemy law is actually much more complicated than the previous one. What is an insult? You see, if someone leaves Islam, say, I leave Islam, I'm not going to come back, that's it. Insult, on the other hand, somehow is decided by the people that you're talking to. So sometimes it can be insult to, let's say I'm talking to some people and I said something and they think it's an insult. That's an insult. Or if what's it called? And I'll show you why I'm saying this. Insult can be anything to anybody. Who gets to decide what is an insult? There are some ones that are very clear, clear-cut insult, or just dishonoring someone. We get that. Now, let's start from the first part. We go to the Quran again. In the Quran, were people insulting the Prophet? Bro, the Sunnah is like, let me not say Sunnah. If you read the Quran, all the prophets, there's one thing common to all of them. There are people insulting them day and night. There are people call them mad people. The worst insult you can think about, they insulted the prophets of God. All the Anbiya, they insulted them. They called them liars, magicians, insult of all kinds. Okay? However, nowhere in the Quran did he say, after they insulted the prophet then killed them or something like this. No, in the Quran you will not find. Then we go to the Hadith again. Okay, this is where the issue is in the Hadith. And by the way, this made me even delve into how do the scholars understand Hadith? How do they take it? Do they take it literally or not? Do they contextualize it? What are the different schools of fiqh? What are the different schools of understanding this Hadith stuff? I went into that too, and I'll get to that in other videos. But I'm just showing you my position on these two laws, and you should think about them too. And let's see, put your comment in the comment section what you think about this issue, and don't give me they said it, that's why. You're not thinking about the issue. You're not trying to understand what's going on. Because let's just continue. So the blasphemy law, remember, what is an insult? Who gets to decide what is an insult? Now, this is the complicated part of this other one. It is that individuals can enact punishment. Listen to that very well. Individuals can enact punishment in the case of blasphemy. In the case of apostasy, no, you cannot kill somebody because they left Islam. You have to take them to the judge, the court system, and the court will judge, and they will even give you 3 days, and if you lie, you can even be taken back. On this one of blasphemy, there is no judge. You can do that. There are two options. The best one, I've seen scholars try to dance around this issue, but I'm telling you, the clear cut, there are two options. The first one is to take the person to the court. That's the best one. That's what you should do. That's normal. Do that. The other one is you do it yourself. Okay? And this we will appeal to the same hadith. Because in the hadith, we had people individually doing it. So a particular man killed his own wife because he was insulting the Prophet. It was the man, and he killed his own wife. He didn't go to any court. There was no court set up. So in a way, there's evidence of individuals enacting the punishment. And that's why we get cases. See, let me tell you, the most popular cases of this blasphemy stuff is people actually doing it on their own. Most of the time, when it goes to the court, nobody hears about this stuff again. But when individuals enact the punishment, that is when it gets popular and then it becomes problematic. So what I'm telling you is that in this other one, there's evidence. Because if you want to take the hadith literally, why would you not take it literally now? That, okay, we have a narration of somebody killing his own wife because of she was insulting the Prophet. And I'll show you some other problem with this hadith too. So if you take that, look at that. Someone insulted the Prophet, killed him without consulting any judge. So don't come when I see scholars saying, because you have to go to the judge, we don't allow anybody to take the punishment to their own hands. Bro, yeah, but look at there's nowhere in the hadith that says you cannot do it on your own. This is just a legislative way that let's make it doesn't make sense when people are just killing each other like that, something like this. But there's evidence of people enacting the punishment. Read the hadith literally like you always do. Read it literally there. You will see that individuals can do it. And that's why most of them, They will not condemn. It's not like they will not condemn. They will condemn him for not taking the person to the judge. But him doing it is somehow the less desirable. But it's also okay. If this law is actually true, it's okay too. Because we have evidence of people doing it. So let that sink in for a moment. That individuals can enact it. What is the problem of individuals enacting such punishment? Who gets to decide what is an insult? Let's say I just say something and one guy thinks it's an insult. And I've talked to some of my friends. They actually believe this. They said, yeah. And I was scared to even talk to them after that. Because what if I'm talking to this guy and he's like, bro, you just insulted the prophet. I don't care. What am I going to do, man? Right? Think about these nuanced positions of this issue. If individuals can enact the punishment of if someone insults the prophet, I can actually attack them and kill them, just like that man did to his wife. If that's the position you are taking, because Daddy said it, then think about what's going on here. Anybody can just decide what is an insult, and then you will just be killed. And then when they ask him, he's like, this guy was insulted the prophet. I'm already dead, right? But the scholars will say, no, don't do that, because we need to be fair. We need to know if he actually insulted the prophet or not. It's true. But the man that said his wife insulted the prophet, you see, he was the only one that was there, and he killed the wife. So if you want to use that law, you just have to be trustworthy. I think maybe the man was trustworthy and they just believed him, which I don't actually believe in this hadith anyway. But anyway, that's what we are talking about here. That's the real issue. Who gets to decide what is an insult? And if you leave individuals to do it, that's why you have problem. Anytime some individual guys, they just kill somebody, that's when it becomes popular. And people don't understand this. Now, can others now use the same law? Think about it. Imagine you live in a land where there are mushriks and you read the Quran. And the Quran is saying these people are mushriks. Or maybe it calls them some names. They read the Quran and they see like the Quran is insulting them or something. Can they be like, you insulted us? Your law is supposed to be applied generally, universally, so we can use it too. And some Christians after that event in Nigeria, some Christians actually started making this point. And I'm like, they have a point somehow, because they think it's an insult to call Isa ibn Maryam a prophet, not God. They think it's an insult. To them, it's an insult. So they are saying, if it's an insult to us, why don't we attack you? Something like this. So you think about this thing and try to, I feel like people that are not involved in dawah, they don't understand this. It's the people that are involved in dawah that maybe they'll get this, because they are trying to have empathy, to try to find the middle ground of trying to see what's going on and everything. So those are the people that would really be troubled by these questions. Imagine they apply the same law, like, this law is good. Whoever insults and by the way, Islam says don't insult people, of course. Islam says don't insult other people's religion, because they will insult you too. Now, Islam doesn't say if you insult them and they insult your religion, go and kill them or something. No. Anyway, so this is one of the blasphemy law. Now, there's another thing. What will be the criteria the other people, let's say another community, they want to use this law. What will be their own criteria for insult? What if I just call their God name, maybe in their own, for example, in like the Old Testament, you cannot call God's name. If you call God's name without calling Yahweh or something, they cannot even write God's name. Imagine you not go to that community and you call God's name. That's an insult to them. You have to be killed. You have to say, it's fair enough, right? No, this is not the way. All the prophets have been insulted in the Quran many times. There's no way they were killed. Okay? So let that sink in. Now, it doesn't mean, by the way, when I'm telling you about apostasy law, it doesn't mean I say someone can become an apostate and just go wild and start doing crazy stuff, that they will not be punished. They can be punished. Or if someone starts insulting the prophet, you think we will not punish him? We will punish the person. We will punish him, definitely. We cannot allow that nonsense in our community. I agree with you. But I'm talking about the law. That is the law that must be applied every single time, such that in this case, an individual can enact the punishment. This is where the problem comes. Now, remember the issue of the apostasy. You can actually lie and get out of it. You can lie and say, you know what, I don't believe, I believe in Islam now. I believe. Then they will leave you alone. This one, you cannot say, I'm sorry, I insulted the prophet. No, it's too late. You're gone. You cannot say you're sorry in this case. There's no way to get out. You cannot feel sorry for your actions anymore. You will be killed. Okay? You will be killed. and they will say, you know what, your apology, maybe Allah will forgive you for that, but you have to die. Because why? Because let's say you're a Muslim now, they will say, when you insulted the Prophet, you became a kafir. Because why would a Muslim even insult the Prophet? It doesn't make sense, right? So if you do that, you became kafir, and that's apostasy, and that's one. Or they will say the honor of the Prophet is sacred, and whoever does that, the Prophet will be the one to judge them. Normally, the Prophet is the one that will judge who should be killed or not. By the way, some people insulted the Prophet and they were not killed. That's just to show you, whenever you find any loophole in this kind of laws, that's, to me, that's just showing that it's not supposed to be applied every single time. But now, why they are saying it has to be applied every single time, you know why? Because they said the Prophet is gone. So he's not be able to, he cannot tell us which one we should kill or not. So we'll just kill all. Any situation that someone insulted the Prophet clearly, by the way, I'm not saying this because I just want to keep, no, if you clearly did that, that's the law. Like that's the law. So don't do it. Okay, if you love yourself, I'm just telling you don't do it. But I'm just telling you why my own position on the law. And some scholars have taken the same position on the apostasy and blasphemy. They said, see, if people were left alone, some people were not killed, and they insulted the Prophet, then it's not a universal law. Okay, and that analogy that you're using, that since the Prophet is not here, he's not going to tell us which one we should kill or not, so we'll kill all. Why don't you take the other position that since he's not here, we'll not kill anybody? That's another thing. Why don't you take that other position? No, you take the other. So, but just think about these issues are very complicated, and after delving into it and listening to clear arguments, remember, what is the whole point of this channel? Is to what makes sense. If something doesn't make sense, bro, if it's contradictory, if it's you, because how can you defend something that you doesn't make sense to you? You just be an hypocrite. And I thought about this deeply, and I'll show you some other things I've delved into. Like, what is the whole point? Why do you follow blindly people? Is it because you're scared of Jahannam? You should be scared of Jahannam, but should you lie to yourself because you are scared of Jahannam or something like this? Many things I've thought about. Do you think if those laws were not supposed to be applied that way, there should be also equal punishment? For example, if there's going to be punishment for people denying these laws to be applied in such a manner, there should be punishment also for people that think it should be applied that way. So no one is getting off loose here. If you think you are safe by just following this strict view that you think, even if it doesn't make sense, I believe it anyway. Remember, if the other people are going to be punished, you will be punished too. So if you are scared of hellfire, be wary of that position also. So I think this should get people start thinking about these issues and see how and in this blasphemy case, you cannot lie. You will be killed no matter what. So I think I've already talked enough about this, and I've shown you my position on this apostasy law. Apostasy law, there's nothing like that. I don't believe this is part of Islam, that anybody, no matter what, became kafir and they stay on that kufr and they have to be killed. No. Or if someone insults the Prophet, they have to be killed no matter what. No. Rather, maybe they can be punished for insulting the Prophet. Because imagine you step on the flag of USA. You think they will leave you alone? They will punish you. See, I understand all of that. Insult my mother. If you insult my mother, I can slap you, bro. I can attack you. But I'm not going to kill you, right? And we have evidence of people insulting the Prophet and they were not killed. So if you make, see, what I'm telling you, majority of people, that's their position somehow. But there are some scholars that are saying we need to think about these things again. And this is what happens to laws. After studying again, some of these things change over time. You will see, things change over time. This position might look like the minority view now. It's going to change because people have empathy. They will start thinking about this thing and be like, maybe we should review this thing. It has happened in history and it can happen again. So, guys, I just wanted to put that out there. So, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.